The world fell once, and now the silence after the chaos is deafening. Cities that once bustled with life now lie in ruins, their streets empty, their buildings scarred by fire and time. Smoke curls from distant explosions, a reminder that the fight for survival is never over. Somewhere in the shadows, danger waits, and every choice could mean life or death. The winds carry whispers of betrayal, hope, and vengeance, but no one can tell which will win. This is a world where the strongest will rise, the clever will survive, and the weak will vanish without a trace. Welcome to the new reality where every step is a gamble, and every glance could be the last. The sky hangs heavy, a dull gray blanket over cities broken by fire and violence. Streets that once hummed with the energy of life are now silent, except for the occasional creak of collapsing metal and the distant rumble of explosions that never truly stop. Cars lie abandoned, their windows shattered, and homes stand empty, doors swinging on rusted hinges. A faint mist rises from the rubble, mixing with the smoke of fires that refuse to die, giving the entire city a ghostly, almost otherworldly feel. Shadows move in the corners, fleeting shapes that vanish before they can be recognized, leaving only the echo of their passing. Nature slowly reclaims the landmines crawl over crumbling walls, weeds push through cracked asphalt, and birds circle above, unafraid of the chaos below. It is a world caught between death and rebirth, where every ruined building tells a story of despair, loss, and survival. The remnants of humanity are scattered, desperate, and haunted by memories of what once was. In this quiet devastation, small groups of survivors huddle together, scavenging for supplies, sharing whispered plans, and keeping watch for threats they can barely imagine. The wind carries a strange mixture of scents, burning wood, damp earth, and decay, and with it, a constant reminder that danger is everywhere. The silence is deceptive. Every shadow could hide an enemy. Every alley could conceal a trap. Despite the desolation, life persists. Tiny green shoots push through the concrete. Animals adapt to the new reality, and people continue to move forward, driven by an instinct to survive that refuses to be extinguished. But survival is not enough in this shattered world. Trust is rare, and betrayal is always close at hand. One wrong move could mean death. And yet, the human spirit, tenacious and unyielding, keeps pushing into the unknown, hoping to find something worth holding onto. As the sun rises, its light barely piercing the thick clouds above, the survivors step cautiously through the ruins, their eyes scanning for danger, their ears straining for even the faintest hint of life. Every corner hides a story, every building a secret, and every choice carries weight beyond imagination. This is the beginning of a new chapter, one written in fire, blood, and resilience, where the past haunts every decision. And the future is an open question. The world may have fallen, but those who remain are determined to carve out a place for themselves. No matter the cost, they move through the wreckage with a quiet determination, understanding that in a world where everything has changed, only adaptability, courage, and cunning will see them through the darkness. Even as the sky rumbles with distant echoes of destruction, there is a pulse of life beneath the rubble, a stubborn defiance that refuses to fade, promising that the story is far from over, and that the fallout is only the beginning. The world is no longer what it once was. Silence has become the loudest sound, broken only by the occasional roar of distant fire or the eerie creak of abandoned structures. Survivors move cautiously through shattered streets, their eyes constantly scanning for threats that seem to come from every direction. Every corner hides danger. Every shadow could be the end of everything. There is no comfort here, no safety, only the constant pressure to stay alive, to think one step ahead. Supplies are scarce, and every meal, every drop of clean water feels like a small victory in a landscape that seems designed to crush hope. Yet, even in this unforgiving world, people continue to form fragile alliances, linking arms in small groups for protection. Trust is hard-earned and easily broken. Betrayal is as deadly as any mutant, as lethal as the crumbling structures that surround them. There are whispers of factions groups that have taken control of entire districts, hoarding resources and using fear to maintain power. Some fight openly, while others operate in the shadows, striking without warning and vanishing before they can be caught. These factions are unpredictable, their motives unclear, but all are relentless in their pursuit of dominance. Scavenging missions are fraught with danger. Every ruined building could contain both life-saving supplies and lethal traps. Rusted weapons lie among broken furniture, while skeletons of those who came before serve as grim reminders of what happens when caution is abandoned. Survivors must constantly weigh risk against reward, knowing that one mistake could cost them everything. The wasteland is alive with movement creatures. Twisted by radiation and neglect, prowl the streets and forests, hunting the unwary. They are fast, silent, and brutal, forcing humans to adapt in ways that challenge everything they thought they knew about survival. Fear is a constant companion, but so is resilience. Every day, every night, survivors learn to push themselves further, to endure pain, hunger, and loss, because the alternative is extinction. And yet, amid the struggle, there are moments of quiet humanity, shared laughter over a small fire, a fleeting smile between strangers who have become allies, a hand extended to lift someone from despair. These moments are fragile, easily shattered by the harshness of the world, but they are also the sparks that keep people moving forward. Rumors spread like wildfire through the remnants of civilization, tales of hidden caches of supplies, of safe zones untouched by destruction, of new threats rising beyond the horizon. Some survivors chase these stories, driven by hope or desperation, while others stay put, learning to live day by day, adapting to the environment that refuses to relent. Communication is difficult. Radio signals are scarce and often intercepted. Messages are fragmented, and information is as valuable as food or ammunition. Knowing where enemies are, who can be trusted, and what dangers lie ahead is critical, and ignorance can be fatal. The landscape itself is a constant threat. Bridges collapse without warning, rivers overflow with polluted waters, and crumbling buildings can turn into tombs in an instant. The survivors learn to read the signs, to understand the rhythms of the ruined world around them, but the rules are never fixed, and the environment always changes faster than they can anticipate. Despite everything, there is movement. Life presses forward even when death seems closer than the next heartbeat. Small victories, like finding fresh water or discovering a hidden shelter, fuel determination. Scars accumulate not only on bodies but on minds, shaping survivors into hardened versions of themselves, individuals who know that every choice carries weight. And that survival is not just about strength, but about cunning, adaptability, and sometimes sheer luck. In the midst of this chaos, new leaders emerge not because they seek power, but because survival demands guidance. These leaders are pragmatic, ruthless at times, and deeply aware that every decision could tip the balance between life and death. They inspire loyalty, fear, or both, and their influence reshapes the small pockets of civilization that cling stubbornly to existence. Yet even leadership is fragile. A single wrong decision, a betrayal, or an unexpected threat can shatter everything built with sweat and blood. The world does not forgive mistakes. In this relentless landscape, the line between hunter and hunted blurs constantly. Yesterday's victim could become today's predator. Alliances can shift overnight. Survival depends on the ability to anticipate change, to adapt to every turn of fortune, and to act with precision when every second counts. This is a world defined by constant motion, by struggle, by uncertainty, where only the strongest, smartest, and most resilient can endure. The ruins of civilization are not just a backdrop, they are a proving ground, a crucible in which the remaining fragments of humanity are tested to their limits. And through it all, the survivors carry a single, unyielding truth: life persists, even when hope seems impossible, even when the world itself seems determined to erase them. the survivors are no longer just struggling against the emptiness of a ruined world. Now they are caught in the web of human ambition, greed, and fear. Factions have risen from the ashes, each claiming pieces of the wasteland as their own. Some wear masks of authority. Others hide behind the shadows, but all move with the ruthless logic. Territories are marked not with signs but with the remnants of those who dared to cross the line, symbols of dominance etched into walls, burnt into the earth. The streets are no longer empty, they are arenas of silent battles, where a misstep could spark a confrontation that spreads like wildfire. The strongest factions control the water sources, the hidden caches of food, and the weapons that determine life and death. They enforce their rule through fear and calculation, testing the loyalty of those who follow and punishing betrayal without hesitation. In the ruins, rumors travel faster than the wind. Whispers of ambushes, secret alliances, and hidden enemies spread through small groups of survivors, causing tension to crackle like electricity in the air. No one knows whom to trust. Allies can become enemies. In a heartbeat, every face in the distance is a question mark, every movement a potential threat. And yet, amidst this uncertainty, individuals rise: leaders, tacticians, and strategists who manipulate both friend and foe to gain advantage. They understand that survival is not just about brute force, but about intelligence, foresight, and the ability to predict human nature. Battles are often fought not with guns alone, but with deception, patience, and timing. Every encounter leaves its mark: shattered buildings, scorched earth, abandoned vehicles, and the silent testimony of those who didn't survive. Each loss reshapes the balance of power. Each victory strengthens a faction's grip on the wasteland. But power is fragile. One moment of weakness, one misjudged action, and the carefully constructed hierarchy can collapse, leaving chaos to sweep through like a storm. For the survivors, the stakes are higher than ever. Even those who avoid the fighting must navigate the shifting territories, moving silently, hiding in the shadows, and constantly observing for signs of danger. Resources are contested at every step. A single crate of food, a bottle of water, or a cache of ammunition can provoke violence, forcing people to fight when they would rather avoid it. It is a world where necessity and survival dictate morality, and ethics are a luxury that few can afford. As factions clash, the landscape transforms into a battlefield of strategy and desperation. Fires flare, alarms echo through empty corridors, and the clash of steel and gunfire punctuates the air. Survivors must make split-second decisions, balancing risk against reward, knowing that hesitation can be fatal. Even the environment conspires against them. Collapsing buildings, unstable terrain, and hidden traps complicate every maneuver, turning every step into a gamble. Within this chaos, loyalty is constantly tested. Friends are forced into impossible choices, torn between protecting those they care for and ensuring their own survival. Betrayal can come from the most unexpected places, as survival instincts overpower bonds of trust. Yet the human spirit endures, even as alliances fracture and conflict escalates. Moments of courage shine through. Individuals defy the odds, risking everything to save others, to take a stand, or to challenge the mightiest factions. These acts of bravery ripple through the wasteland, inspiring hope in those who witness them and fear in those who rule. Rumors of a rising threat begin to circulate beyond the visible. Power struggles, an unknown force that moves silently, striking without warning. Its motives hidden, factions begin to adjust. Wary of enemies they cannot see, alliances shift, and an already unstable balance teeters on the edge of collapse. In this tense environment, survival is no longer measured by what one can take, but by what one can endure. Every decision carries weight. Every action sparks consequences that spread far beyond immediate perception. The wasteland is alive with plots, schemes, and clashes, a stage for human ambition, ingenuity, and desperation. The survivors are tested not just by the broken world around them, but by the very nature of the people who remain. As the sun rises over ruined skylines and scorched earth, the tension is palpable. The air is thick with anticipation. with the sense that something monumental is about to happen, an event that could redefine who survive, is who rules, and who becomes a shadow of the past. In a land where trust is fragile and power is fleeting, the line between predator and prey blurs constantly, leaving only one certainty: chaos rules, and only the prepared, the clever, and the relentless will endure to see another day. The air is thick with smoke and the acrid scent of fire as the world teeters on the edge of complete collapse. Chaos is no longer a distant threat. It has arrived, erupting in sudden, violent bursts that leave no one untouched. The streets, once merely abandoned and quiet, are now alive with danger. Each shadow a potential ambush, every alley a trap, waiting to spring. The ruins shake with the echoes of destruction as buildings crumble under the strain of neglect, their walls scarred by fire and battle. Survivors move with heightened awareness, their senses stretched to the limit, constantly calculating, watching, and listening. Even the wind seems alive, carrying distant screams, the clatter of metal, and the whisper of movements that vanish before they can be fully seen. In this fractured world, nothing is stable, and every step carries the weight of uncertainty. Supplies become the currency of life, and access to even the simplest necessities, water, food, ammunition, can spark deadly confrontations. Small groups navigate the ruins like chess pieces on a massive, unpredictable board, anticipating moves, predicting threats, and making split-second decisions where hesitation can be fatal. The factions that once maintained dominance now face challenges from within and without. Betrayal brews in whispered conversations, alliances strain under pressure, and the constant threat of surprise attacks keeps even the most seasoned survivors on edge. Violence is unpredictable, brutal, and unavoidable. It erupts without warning, leaving destruction in its wake. Collapsing buildings, hidden traps, and crumbling infrastructure turn every pursuit and confrontation into a test of ingenuity and reflex. The environment itself has become as dangerous as any enemy. Rivers, once a source of life, run polluted and unpredictable, turning every crossing into a gamble. Streets are littered with debris that can conceal threats, from ambushes to the remains of previous skirmishes. The world has become a labyrinth where only the observant and adaptable can navigate safely. Yet, amid this relentless peril, moments of resilience emerge. Survivors find brief sanctuaries in the shadows of ruined buildings, hidden nooks that provide respite and allow planning for the next move. Fires burn as beacons of temporary safety. Small clusters of people huddle together, sharing warmth, food, and fleeting conversation. These moments are fleeting, fragile against the backdrop of chaos, but they are crucial reminders that even in a collapsing world, the human spirit persists beyond the immediate threats. A deeper tension lurks. Mutated creatures, twisted by radiation and neglect, emerge from the ruins, stalking the weak and the unwary. Their movements are unpredictable, and their attacks are sudden and violent, forcing survivors to adapt strategies constantly. The creature's presence reminds everyone that the world itself is hostile, and survival demands more than strength. It requires cleverness, vigilance, and a willingness to act decisively. The psychological toll is immense. Every encounter leaves scars on the mind as well as the body. Fear, doubt, and grief shadow each step, yet they coexist with determination and the stubborn will to endure. Even as death looms, hope flickers in the most unexpected places. A hidden cache of supplies, a safe path through the rubble, or the rare act of bravery that shifts the balance of survival. Conflict escalates with every passing day. Factions clash not only for resources, but for control, for territory, for dominance. Fires flare, alarms echo through empty streets, and the air vibrates with the intensity of combat. Strategies unfold, improvisation becomes survival, and each decision carries consequences that ripple far beyond the moment. Amid this turmoil, small acts of humanity pierce the darkness. Strangers lend aid, alliances form out of necessity, and courage shines in unexpected places. Even in a world defined by chaos, these acts create ripples, reshaping power, influence, and morale in subtle but profound ways. As the sun dips behind clouds of ash and smoke, long shadows stretch across the ruins, turning the landscape into a stage for both survival and confrontation. The survivors move carefully, yet decisively, aware that at any moment the world could erupt into uncontrollable violence. Every sound, every movement, every breath carries potential danger, and each individual must balance caution with boldness. In this relentless environment, there is no room for hesitation. The stakes are absolute, the threats constant, and the cost of failure unforgiving. Those who endure do so not only through strength, but through adaptability, foresight, and the understanding that survival is a series of choices made under pressure. The ruins of civilization, once quiet, now echo with the sounds of struggle, fire, and the relentless fight to remain alive. The wasteland tests everyone, forcing them to confront fear, pain, and the limits of endurance. Only the clever, the resilient, and the determined can hope to navigate this world and emerge into the uncertain dawn that waits beyond the chaos. In every shattered street, every collapsing building, and every fleeting shadow, the survivors are reminded that the fallout is far from over and that survival demands more than courage. It demands everything they have and everything they are willing to risk.